Laser sights can deter threats and aid in quick target identification, enhancing your ability to protect your family, home, and country. Crimson Trace, making laser sights standard equipment. Learn more at crimsontrace.com.
Today on Tom Gresham's Gun Talk, it's gun rights and training for teachers in the Centennial State, new gun safe features from Liberty Safe, and more. Call in now with your questions, comments, and range reports to 866-TALK-GUN. That's Tom Talk Gun. And now the star of our show, here's Tom Gresham.
All righty, well, let's do this thing. I'm Tom Gresham. I am the host of Gun Talk because, well, nobody else can do this. Because nobody else is clever enough to do this. Hey, glad that you can be with us. We're talking about guns, of course. It doesn't really matter if you talk about guns for hunting, guns for self-defense, guns for competition, or even collecting. If there's anything that you like about guns, let me know. If you've got range reports, you've been out doing some shooting, or maybe even early season hunting. Love to get your range reports. What did you take out to the range? What did you shoot? What ammo? How's it performing? Do you have guns that you love? Do you have some that you wish? We don't ever have guns we hate, do we? I don't think so. Do you have any guns that you wish you had never let go? Man, I got a couple. There was a 5-inch Smith & Wesson Model 27, 357 Magnum that I let go. That was dumb. I needed the money, same old deal, right? Needed the money at the time. That's okay. I've gotten a few since then, but, it's interesting how it just kind of sticks with you going, man, never should let that gun go. By the way, if you'd like to be a part of this, that part is easy. Just give us a call, 866-TALK-GUN or Tom Talk Gun. That's easy, Tom Talk Gun. And we will certainly take your calls, comments, questions. A few ground rules. If you're new here, let me explain. Yes, it's called Gun Talk. No, we do not broadcast from a bunker. We're just regular guys and gals who like guns, who own guns, who shoot guns, who keep guns for self-defense, for self-protection, for taking care of our families. We get training. We are responsible. We keep our guns safely. We take care of things. We take care of each other. In other words, we're not the problem. We are actually part of the solution. And if you like the sound of that, we'll just stay here. You're going to find out some things that maybe you didn't know. Also, honestly, here's the thing. If you have somehow stumbled upon Gun Talk and you're thinking, oh my gosh, it's a radio show about guns. It's those people. I hate guns. Really? How do you hate an inanimate object? Now, I understand if you would say, and it would be actually more honest to say, I hate gun owners, because that's really where a lot of the gun control movement comes from. It's not that they don't like guns, they don't like us. But, okay, having said that, if you would like to participate and you don't like guns, just call us and let us know. We'll put you up at the front of the line. The rules there are simple. I won't shout you down or cut you off as long as you don't try to monologue. We will have a conversation. Fair enough? That number again is 866-TALK-GUN. We're going to be doing a lot of things today, a lot of news breaking. We've got some court cases. Some have gone our way and a couple of them have not, and we'll be catching up on that. We have a big decision coming in tomorrow out in Seattle on the defense distributed case. We'll be talking with Cody Wilson about that, see what's going on there. We also are going to be giving away cool stuff as we go through the day, talking about arming teachers and training teachers and school personnel as we get back to school, and the kids are going back to school now. Who is going to protect them? Who? That is really at the core of the whole issue, is it not? Who? And is that person going to be there if protection is needed? By the way, if you go to shopguntalk.com, that's our website, shopguntalk.com, we got all kind of cool hats and T-shirts and neat stuff and books and DVDs and, things that can make you a better shot, things that can make you a safer person, things that can make you better at defending yourself and your family, as well as just neat hats and T-shirts I think you'll like. Okay, having said all of that, I'm going to bring in a first-time guest here, Mike Mihalski just joins us from Sons of Liberty Gun Works. Hey, Mike, I appreciate you being here.
Hey, Tom, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So Dan says, hey, you got to get Mike on here. And he starts to tell me a story about you guys and what you're doing. Now, you're located in Texas, right?
We're based out of San Antonio, yes, sir.
Okay. So give us, for people who don't know about your company, give us kind of the elevator pitch, the cliff notes on what you guys are doing and how it all came about.
Well, we're about 3.5 years old, and we're an AR-15 manufacturer, which I know sounds a bit cliche, right? There's just so many of those going on right now.
I was just going to say, isn't everybody?
Yeah, right. Well, I think once you start getting to the top of the pyramid, though, when you start getting into the actual work rifles, endurance rifles, that it gets a little bit narrow there at the top. Mm-hmm. And so when you're dealing with more of a professional grade end user or civilians that take this stuff pretty seriously, and you eliminate a lot of that hobby grade, or I don't say that in a bad way. Not everybody needs a fighting gun per se. If they don't, if someone's intention is to go hunt hogs or something, we might not be the company necessarily to go to. But when it comes to rifles that you're going to potentially stake your life on, then these things start to really matter. When you get to the top of the pyramid there's not as many. There's probably 6 or 7 brands, I think, that are really focused on that market. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so and you, a lot of your work and your sales are to law enforcement agencies, and I know that. Let me ask you, I'm sure you get this question all the time. What's the difference between, and there are a lot of good sub-$1,000 ARs out there that are good enough and actually perfectly adequate for most people. Your guns cost more than that, and everybody looks at it and goes, yeah, but and you've heard this, it's just an AR, it's just a collection of parts. Right? I mean, I can't be the first person who's ever said this to you, right?
No. I mean, this is a conversation I have about 100 times a week, and it's a truly valid, it's a truly valid question because, unfortunately, cosmetically, yes, a lot of these rifles all kind of look alike, but once you start getting under the hood, that's where you really kind of start separating the difference between a duty grade and a hobby grade kind of gun. Okay. You're looking at buffer weights and the powerful springs and powerful extractor springs, and truly appreciating gas port math and that relationship to the buffer weights, and aggressive staking on gas keys, grade 8 fasteners, individually proof tested bolts, and there's a whole checklist of things that certain companies do because we can elevate the predictability of service. When you start getting into like some of the other types of brands, they may or may not work fine. You may never experience a problem. But the issue becomes harder to predict when a part may fail or the gun may stop, or if you push that gun to a higher or a more sustained schedule of fire, you'll see these other rifles start to kind of fall off while some of them keep going. The ones that keep going are kind of what we're doing. But to answer your question about the $1,000 gun, I think a Colt 6920 is kind of the yardstick for where we start looking at that stuff. And for some of our police models that are more basic in terms of furniture, we're a sub-1,000. We have sub-$1,000 guns that still check all those boxes. Yes, sir.
Well, and I'm thinking about when you talk about getting a lot of use, a lot of your guns go to law enforcement, for instance, I'm thinking in terms of a SWAT team. People who are going out there training once a week or more than once a week, and they're just shooting an awful lot. And then when they have to go into a place where there are some seriously bad people, and maybe a lot of them, it's got to work first time every time.
That's right. It's kind of like skydiving. If it works most of the time, you're going to have a pretty short career,
Yeah, exactly. All right, let me ask you, because this was the interesting part to me. You have I don't know if you call it a program, but it's a thing you offer. It's an offer, and it comes with your LE guns. If an officer uses a gun, well, explain that deal. If an officer uses a gun and it gets taken in evidence or whatever, how do you guys handle that?
So this works with individual officer purchases or department purchases. To where if one of our rifles is used in the line of duty, we will replace that rifle while it goes away to evidence. If one of our rifles is lost or destroyed in the line of duty, we'll replace it. in the configuration that was bought. So if that rifle was bought with a suppressor, an optic, a light, a laser, that is how we're going to hand it back to that agency. And my motivation for doing that was traveling the country, talking to police officers, doing armorers courses, and seeing some of the substandard equipment that was either being issued or being purchased by individual officers that were allowed to carry it on duty. And I would ask these guys, like, why would you carry this rifle, knowing, and they know that it's not, a duty grade rifle, and they're telling me, well, if I have to use it, I'm going to lose it, and that's a legitimate fear these guys have. And after hearing that over and over and seeing some of these substandard weapons in service, I decided to make a policy to where if you use one of our rifles, don't let that be the reason to not draw your patrol rifle if you need it,
Right. It's funny you say that, because I've had a ton of people over the years tell me something similar on concealed carry. They say, well, I don't carry a real good gun because if I have to use it, it's going to get taken in evidence. I'm probably going to end up losing it. And I'm thinking, wait a minute. If you need your gun, it's the thing you need the most in the world at that moment. It's the thing that keeps you alive and lets you go back to see your family. And you're telling me you're going to go cheap on that because you are afraid that maybe it gets taken away, at some point? I mean, the logic is missed on me.
I would agree. I would agree too. I mean, granted, neither one of us would carry some collectible grade, weapon, or I wouldn't carry a family heirloom perhaps into service. But when it comes to a suitable weapon that is reliable and dependable, why would you not want to go with that over something else? I mean, our lives are worth more than that. Exactly.
Okay, so now, is it true, and I'm hoping it is, that the same program you're talking about, replacing a gun, when the gentleman Stephen Williford stopped that church shooting in Texas where the guy had an AR and Stephen Williford grabs his rifle and takes off running barefoot and ends up shooting this guy and basically stopping the murder, did you replace his gun for him?
I did. I grew up not far from that church. Not far at all. That easily, my family easily could have been in that church that day. And I remember hearing about what this civilian did. And sometimes in the real world, civilians are the first responder. Mm-hmm. And that man stood up and did his duty as a patriot, as a Texan. And I figured we'll implement our duty rifle replacement program for a civilian. Now, that was not a Sons of Liberty rifle that he had used in that encounter. It was a weapon that he had built on his own through various parts. Mm-hmm. But knowing that he had not gotten his rifle back, I could think of no better candidate to handle one of our rifles too.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, Mike. I'll tell you, that's what I had heard, and I just wanted to confirm that. Well, it's an incredible program you have going, and it makes tons of sense. And I know that you're new in the business, you're new at this, an interesting group of guys putting this thing together. I wish you tons of luck with it. For those who want to look it up, the website is Sons of Liberty Gunworks. I really appreciate
you having us on, and feel free to invite me back anytime.
We will do that, Mike. Look, I appreciate what you guys are doing. Texans doing a good thing down there. So listen, you guys take care. Appreciate it. Thanks, Mike. Yeah, Sons of Liberty Gunworks.com. Let me try that again. Sons of Liberty Gunworks.com if you want to look them up. All right, 866-TALK-GUN is our number. We are open lines. Give me a holler.
Tactical professionals who put their lives on the line every day depend on Surefire. Since 1979, Surefire has designed, machined, and assembled the finest flashlights, weapon-mounted lights, hearing protection, and suppressors right here in the U.S. Surefire, offering a best-in-class warranty and customer service, and used by more military special operations, SWAT teams, and hard-use end users than any other brand. Surefire, American-built, American-strong. Visit Surefire.com. That's Surefire.com.
Hi, this is Tom Gresham from Gun Talk. America is losing critical wildlife habitat at a rate of 1 football field every hour. It's happening on the Louisiana coast, but it's critical to all sportsmen and conservationists. These precious wetlands provide winter habitat for more than 10 million ducks and geese annually, waterfowl that migrate north through dozens of states. Don't shrug it off. Get involved. You can help. Visit vanishingparadise.org.
If you carry a gun, you need training. Your concealed carry class was definitely not training. But time, money, and obligations keep you from spending days at a shooting school. The trusted folks at Gun Talk can help. Concealed Carry 1, our DVD featuring the VADA Group, covers what gun, what holster, how to carry, where to wear your gun, and much more. Visit shopguntalk.com. That's shopguntalk.com. Look, this really is life and death. Learn how to stay aware, how to get away, and how to fight if you must. At shopguntalk.com, you can get the 2 DVD set, including Fighting with the 1911 with Tiger McKee. No matter what gun you carry, this vital training info can save your life. Learn the draw, the stance, reloading, vital gear from Gun Talk. That's shopguntalk.com. shopguntalk.com.
Founded with the singular purpose of building fine sporting firearms, Kimber creates a handgun for every person and a rifle for every adventure. While embracing modern manufacturing techniques, every Kimber depends on practiced hands for assembly, fit, and finish. There's no compromise in features, materials, or performance. Synonymous with quality, precision, and excellence, and made in America. Kimber is what all guns should be. Visit KimberAmerica.com. That's KimberAmerica.com.
Things are happening out in Washington State. Let's see, on Monday, and we'll talk about this just a little bit later in the show. On Monday, a judge is supposed to rule on the fate of the files on the internet, the 3D printed gun files. Not a case of can we regulate 3D guns. It's just, are we going to prevent the publishing of information? It's weird. The whole subject is weird. People who would never think of banning books. Oh, but wait. Yes, they are banning books because somebody took the files, these 3D printed files, just the computer files, put them into a book, an actual printed book, and put it up for sale on Amazon. It took about, a week or so, and Amazon banned the book. Amazon banned the book. Now, they're selling the Anarchist Cookbook, and they're selling books with plans to make munitions, and books about terrorism and how to commit that. But this is a book with files that are already available on the internet, basically how to program a 3D printer or a CNC machine. Oh, yeah, and should I mention, I guess again, for those who may not have caught this, it is absolutely and perfectly legal to make your own gun at home without a serial number. Absolutely legal. As long as you're not selling it or giving it away, if you're making it for your own use, you can make your own gun. It has been that way since the year, 1776. Like, a long time since the country was founded. So it's perfectly legal to make your own gun. So Amazon is banning this book, which is interesting because, for a month or more, I've been saying this is essentially book burning. The idea of trying to prevent these files to be put on the internet, and of course they're out there on dozens, if not hundreds of websites already, so the horse has left the barn. But the idea of trying to prevent the publishing of these plans is the equivalent of book burning, which normally would be anathema to people on the left. And yet they're calling for banning the publication of information. They're banning speech. And that's kind of how this case is going to end up breaking down. We'll see what happens. We'll get more information on that. Also in Washington State, the Washington State Supreme Court, you remember they had this initiative that was going to be put on the ballot, and the people putting together and got all these signatures, they spent millions and millions of dollars to purchase these signatures to put it on the ballot. State law requires certain things on a petition like this, and they didn't do those things. So if you looked at the petition and you tried to read the measure to see what it was going to do, you couldn't tell what it was going to do because it didn't have the right things underlined or crossed out. So it didn't tell you, well, this is going to be removed and this is going to be added, which is all required by state law. It's very clear. So a judge rules, nope, those are invalid. So this measure cannot go to the public. It cannot go to a ballot. It will not be voted on. Well, I guess not surprisingly, the Washington Supreme Court put this measure back on the ballot. It clears, what it's going to do is put on the ballot a measure that's going to raise the legal age to buy semi-automatic rifle to 21. It's going to require certain storage methods, and you could be charged with a misdemeanor or even a felony for not storing your gun correctly. It would change the background check requirements and maybe even a waiting period. I'll have to look into that. And what was weird, and sometimes these judges kind of wrap themselves up in knots trying to get to the end that they want. So the court says, state law does not allow for pre-election judicial review of the form, process, substance, or constitutionality of an initiative petition, which is, of course, total and utter BS. The state law says this is how the petition must be written. And now the court's saying, yeah, but we actually can't look at what they did and rule on it. Well, what's the court for then, if you can't look at this and rule on what they can do? The Alliance for Gun Responsibility is a gun control group that put this together. Signature gathering campaign. They spent millions on it, and they got a lot of their money from billionaires, Microsoft co-founder Paul Allen, former Microsoft CEO Steve Ballmer, and venture capitalist Nick Hanauer. Also, they got $250,000 from Mayor Bloomberg's group, Everytown for Gun Safety. So the billionaires are out to strip you of your gun rights. And here's the problem. They can buy enough advertising to basically suck up all avails when this thing comes to a vote. And unless we all pony up and reach in and pull $20 out of our pockets individually to help this thing, I got to tell you, I think it's going to pass, because I think you could convince people to buy anything if you spend enough money on advertising. It really is as simple as that. Our number is 866-TALK-GUN. We'll be right back with more about teachers and guns.
Sign up for our Gun Talk newsletter and join the Truth Squad at www.guntalk.com. Now, back to Gun Talk with Washington Times opinion page regular contributor Tom Gresham.
All right, back with you. Before we get to our guest, we have a guy who's called in on line 3 out of Jackson, Mississippi. He's got a problem or looking for something. Hey, guy, what are you looking for here?
I had an American Arms little stainless steel 22 Magnum, and I lost it. I want that same caliber. What else is on the market besides that?
In 22 Magnum?
Yeah, for a pocket gun.
Yeah, well, that's the whole deal. So, how big? It's always the question of how big is the pocket. Smith & Wesson has a Model 351, and it is basically it's a kind of like a Chief Special size snub-nose revolver, roughly a 2-inch barrel. And so it would go in a big pocket, but nothing's going to be as small as that North American Arms mini revolver.
Yeah, but nothing as small as some of these little 380s or anything.
Well, it's probably roughly the size of the 380, and it's a 7-shot 357, and it's double action, which is nice. That's, in my view, an upgrade from the single action. It's a 22 Magnum, a 7-shot 22 Magnum. Yeah, I was looking at the model number, which is a 351. And so, 7-shot 22 Magnum. Barrel length is 1.8 inches. I'm looking to see if I can see. Oh, weight is only 11 ounces, so it is super lightweight, made of aluminum alloy. That would be nice, actually.
Yeah, what's the model and number?
The model is a 351C for Charlie, 351 Charlie. If you go to smith-wesson.com on the internet, you can take a look at it.
Okay. I appreciate it.
All right. Appreciate that. Good luck with that. I hate it when you lose a gun like that. You go, oh, man, I got to get something else. But it does open up the possibility of getting something else. And it's a nice gun, too. It really is. All right. It's back to school time, and the kids are going back, and all of a sudden people are kind of taking another look at the whole, how are we going to handle security? And there are some folks who have not waited for the government to take care of that. They've decided, you know what, we're going to take charge of this ourselves. And joining me right now is Laura Carno from the FASTER program in Colorado. We've had the FASTER program from Ohio on, but I had a chance to talk with Laura. So, hey, Laura, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing great. How are you, Tom?
Excellent. So we got a chance to get together, talk a little bit about the FASTER program, and I wanted you to share kind of how it gravitated from Ohio to Colorado and what you're doing with it. And I guess the core question is why?
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought up Ohio. FASTER Saves Lives in Ohio started this 6 years ago. They've trained over 1,600 school staff. And so I look at them as sort of the mothership for the whole country on this FASTER curriculum. A couple of years ago, I went to one of their classes in Ohio, and I'd always believed that an armed good guy can help save lives anywhere, and schools are part of anywhere. But it never hit my heart like it did before I went to Ohio, and what the difference that made was I met these teachers and janitors and principals who would die to protect their kids. Every one of them would put their body in front of kids to save them. Why shouldn't they have a chance to save children and live, save more kids, and go back to their own families? So I came back to Colorado, as you know, the state that had Columbine, Arapahoe High School, Platte Canyon. We've had our share of school killings, and why shouldn't Colorado's kids be as safe as Ohio's kids or any other state's kids? So put my nose to the grindstone, and with the help of Ohio, brought FASTER out here to Colorado.
It's interesting you mentioned that teachers would die, they would give their lives for the kids. Unfortunately, we have had several instances of that, examples of teachers who literally put their bodies in front of the bullets and were killed. The only problem was they had absolutely no possibility of stopping the shooters because they were prohibited from having the right tool for that, which wouldn't, it's simple. It's a firearm. If anybody doesn't believe that's the right tool, then ask why police officers carry firearms. It's to stop bad guys. So you said, all right, we're going to bring this out to Colorado. By heavens, where do you start? Because this is a heck of a thing to have to organize.
Yeah, and so I asked Ohio, how did you guys do this? And so had a project plan put together. What folks who have worked with me over the years know is that when there is a goal out there, I simply get it done. I take the hill. And so one of my coworkers here described me as a woman possessed to get this done. So really the first thing is we have to have the right instructor. So that was the first thing I did. And I found a great group of active duty law enforcement guys who all have training experience, all have SWAT experience. 3 of the 4 actually have their own training companies outside of their law enforcement jobs. And those 3 who have their training companies, they've been training armed school staff since the days after Sandy Hook. So these are guys with the right skills and with a heart for what we're doing. And, from there it was just reaching out to school districts, talking to county sheriffs who, by and large, know if there are school districts in their counties who have armed staff. It's usually the first person that a school would coordinate with. And went from there. We had one class our first year in 2017. This year, 2018, we put a couple classes out there. Parkland happened. Those filled up right away, added a 3rd class, and now have just added a 4th class for November.
That is terrific. Laura, I'm going to get you a hold on. I'm going to take a quick break now early so we can have more time on the backside because there's some more information. I want to know what kind of pushback did you get, and also what is the response of teachers and school administrators and school staff when you say, hey, you can take this class. We'll be talking about that when we come back. We're talking with Laura Carno from the FASTER Colorado program. If you'd like to be a part of the show, 866-TALK-GUN. I'm Tom Gresham.
The Ruger pistol that started it all is now even better. The Ruger Mark IV has the same great look as the Mark III, but now its simple one-button takedown means less time taking apart your gun and more time shooting it. Disassemble it in seconds for no hassle cleaning. Learn more about the Target, Hunter, and 2245 Light Mark IV series models at Ruger.com. The Ruger Mark IV, another rugged, reliable firearm from Ruger.
Want great deals on guns, ammunition, and gear? Download the free Gundealio app today. With Gundealio, you can search for deals, listen to the Gun Talk podcast, watch gun videos, read gun news, and get notifications right to your phone about deals and special offers. Save money on the products you want from the companies you love. New deals, discounts, and rebates added daily. Gundealio, available for free in the App Store and Google Play.
Now at LibertySafe.com, you can buy a Liberty Safe at a great price and receive 12 months interest-free payments with 0 down and 0% APR, with some safes as low as $20 a month on approved credit. Peace of mind, lifetime warranty, and in-home delivery service. Go to LibertySafe.com now for 12 months interest-free payments with 0 down and 0% APR. LibertySafe.com.
Since 1937, Ducks Unlimited has led the charge on wetlands and waterfowl conservation. Wetlands reduce the effects of flooding and recharge our drinking water, but perhaps most importantly, they allow us to experience what makes the outdoors so great. Band together to rescue our wetlands.
Stand for the Second Amendment with Franklin Armory. Their 3-position BFS Gen 3 trigger is one of the hottest products for your AR, HK, ACR, CZ, and B&T in curved and straight variations. In position 3, fire 1 round on pull and 1 round on release. Ideal for both tactical and competition use. Get a 10% discount on everything with the code word GUNTALK at franklinarmory.com.
All right, we're back with you here, Tom Gresham. We're talking right now with Laura Carno from the Faster Colorado program. Faster is a program that started in Ohio. It trains teachers, school personnel, administrators, people in schools who volunteer and trains them with firearms. And Laura, one of the things, several things I want to ask you, but I want to point out to people, this isn't like a deal where you just say, you raise your hand, you say, okay, I want to do this, and you get to do it. You have to take the training, and not everybody passes, do they?
Right, that's exactly it. When a school, and here in Colorado, and many states are like this, folks on campus can carry with the authorization of their school board. And it's exactly as you said, the school board doesn't say it's a free-for-all. They say we need 10 people or 5 people or whatever, and they identify individuals who are all volunteers, by the way. And so once they are authorized by their school district, then they can be able to carry and then go through training. And we offer that training to schools for free if necessary. Not all schools can afford this training, so we actually raise that private money just like they do in Ohio.
Now, this is the Faster Colorado program is connected with the Independence Institute, is it not?
Correct. We are a project of Independence Institute, and for those who aren't familiar with II here in Colorado, they're a free market think tank that also has a Second Amendment Policy Center headed up by Dave Kopel, who I know is a friend of the show. So this was a very natural partnership for us, and they are also my partner in fundraising so that we can make sure no teacher or janitor or whoever is turned away from this training due to lack of budget.
When I was out at the Independence Institute ATF party, I had a woman come up to me. Actually, she and her husband drove there from Kansas. I guess he teaches in Colorado. She had been through the FASTER program. And I asked her a real simple question. I said, so what did it do for you to take the FASTER training? And without hesitation, the first thing she said was, it changed my life. She said, I was afraid before, and I'm not afraid now. Basically, it gave her a course of action, a plan, and she did complete it, and she passed. So it was such, you could see her beaming. And I'm just wondering what it's like during the classes when these teachers and other folks are going through it?
Yeah, they know what they have signed up for. They know how deadly serious this is. And I got a little bit of chills when you said what she thought of the class. But we do get that feedback, not just at the class, but when we do a survey afterwards so we can continue to improve the class. It makes the difference between a feeling before of, do I think I would be able to do this and be accurate and not harm any innocent people and be able to protect life? And it changes them from beginning to end. And I'll credit the great curriculum from Ohio and the quality of our instructors out here who, let's face it, they're doing the work every single day. They learned something new on duty last night, sort of thing. And it really is a great experience for the school staff members. And the one teacher that you spoke with at the ATF party, she lives just over the border of Colorado, so she lives a few miles out of state. But she did pass, and not everybody passes. The test that they have to pass at the end of the class is the same test that law enforcement has to pass in handgun proficiency to get out of the academy. We actually add 2 extra shots to that, and they have to pass it 100%. It's a very, very high standard, but it should be because they're around our kids. Wow,
that is terrific. I'm wondering what kind of pushback you get. I mean, people say, as I used to say, people say the darndest things. In this instance, some people just say the dumbest things when they're trying to block you from this, don't they?
Yeah, and in Colorado, it's been lawful for 15 years, and we're simply offering free training. So it's really hard for the anti-side to say that we're doing something wrong because everybody's in favor of more training. But they do criticize the policy. The one problem that they can't get past, though, Tom, is if something happens and somebody comes into your school shooting, do you want to wait until somebody gets there from law enforcement, whether it's 60 seconds or 60 minutes in some of these cases, or do you want somebody as close as possible to where this thing starts to stop them? And they don't have a really good answer for that. They just want less guns and think that that's going to make everybody safer and less violent, and it's not. It just disarms the innocent, and the bad guys, as we see time and time again, they just don't care. But yeah, they say the darndest things. I've heard everything.
No doubt. I explained to them about the stopwatch of death concept, which is basically, as the clock is ticking, people are getting hurt or people are getting shot and people are dying. And I always tell them this. I said, so how important is it to you what kind of clothing the first responder wears? And they kind of look at you like, what? And I said, well, you're telling me that we should only have first responders who wear blue clothing as opposed to first responders who are wearing their daily wear. Because that's the only difference between the person who is there and can stop it and the person you have to call on the phone and ask them to bring a gun over here. That's the only difference between the police and the people who are there is the different kind of clothes they're wearing. And it's like they're thinking, what are you talking about? So, well, that's my point, is you can wait and people will die while you're waiting, or you can take action more quickly. I think it's terrific what you're doing, Laura. I just got to applaud you for everything you guys are doing out there.
Thanks. It's one of those things that once I went to class in Ohio, I couldn't not do it. I'm a grandparent now. I've got grandkids, and man, you think about your own loved ones. Aside from these being terrible local and national tragedies whenever they happen, but gosh, people look at the looks on those faces of parents showing up to Parkland looking for their kids. They don't want to be that person.
That's the whole deal. Laura, thank you so much. Thanks for sharing the story. Faster is in Colorado, and you know what? We got to get into a bunch more states out there. Again, thank you, Laura. Appreciate that. All right, our number is 866-TALK-GUN. That's going to get you in here. Teachers, school, staff with guns, good idea, bad idea? Does that worry you? Let me know. 866-TALK-GUN. it's an interesting thing. Most of the people that I hang around with, naturally, tend to be pretty pro-gun, pretty much attuned to taking care of themselves, providing their own safety. It's always interesting when I run into people who don't think about that much, or when they think about safety, they think somebody else should provide safety for them. That is, I have a phone and I will call for help. Yeah, Molly Tibbetts had a phone. If you are, I'm going to expand on that for a sec. It made me think a little bit more about carrying women. If you're jogging, if you're walking, the belly band is a really good alternative. You can wear it under a shirt while you're jogging. You can have a firearm in there. And let me just get right to the heart of it. Nothing is as effective as a firearm in the hands of somebody who knows what to do with it, someone who has been trained, who is serious about it, who's taking it seriously, who is responsible. A firearm can stop a bad guy, often without having to shoot the person. But if you do have to shoot, it's particularly effective. It's certainly more effective than holding up a phone and say, I'm calling the police. I see women, they get their phones out when they're walking across the parking lot as though that is their security system. Oh, my heavens. Let's talk with Diana. She's on line 1 out of Waco, Texas. Diana, talk to me. You looking for a gun?
I'm looking for a gun. I'm a 71-year-old concealed carry lady.
Mm-hmm.
My .38 Smith & Wesson just has a lot of recoil.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking for something that might not knock me back so far.
Okay. There are a couple of ways to go. One is that you could get lighter loads for your .38 Special because you may be using some pretty powerful loads. But the other part is that the gun may not fit you well, or it may not be a good choice for you. There are do you like revolvers as opposed to a semi-auto? Let me ask that.
I'd rather have a semi-auto.
You say you would rather have a semi-auto?
Yeah.
Okay, then there are a number of good semi-autos. What you want is something that is a mid-size. How are you carrying it? Are you carrying it in a purse?
Sometimes in the purse, sometimes on my waist. Concealed.
Okay. I would say, here's what I'm going to say. I'm not going to tell you a specific brand because you're going to go look at several of them. I want you to, but this is what I want you to look for. A mid-size, think about mid-size, and you want it in a .380 caliber. Not a .38 Special, but it's called a .380 automatic.
Okay.
It will have a good bit less recoil than that .38 you're shooting now. They are easy to carry, and the slides are pretty easy to work. And I know that, those of us as we get older, you get arthritis in our hands and all, and slides can be a little bit more difficult to work, and a .380 is very easy. So if you'll go to the local gun stores, because I want you to look at several of them and pick them up and put them in your hands, because, and if possible, if they have a shooting range, try them out if they'll let you. But I want you to look at a .380, a mid-size .380, because they've got little bitty pocket guns, but they're a little bit harder to shoot. But something in that mid-size. Don't let them give you the little bitty gun, because they always say, well, this is little, yeah. It's easy to hold, but they're hard to shoot.
Yeah, because I want something that's accurate, too. I do a lot of traveling by myself.
Uh-huh.
So if I ever need to hit something, I want to hit it without throwing it at them.
There you are. Well, Diana, I think that's what I would recommend is go do a little shopping around and look for a mid-size semi-automatic pistol in .380 caliber. I think you're going to like them because there's some real nice ones out there today. And I appreciate you taking care of yourself and making the commitment to get your carry permit and being safe out there. You carry on. Appreciate that, Diana. Thank you so much. You got to love that. So, well, I want to hit something. I don't want to have to throw it at them. I love it. And she's 71, and she understands, and sometimes she carries it in a purse, and sometimes she carries it on her belt. I like it. If you're not carrying, I'm just going to say it right out. You haven't really fully appreciated the situation. You don't understand the concept. You got to provide for your own protection, okay? When we come back, we'll talk about what are we doing for our rights? We got to rally for them. That's what we got to do.